All right, it's still New Year's Eve, and we're going to pick up the report with John addressing some issues that we've encountered and some decisions we have to make on topside planking.
Okay, so in finishing the bottom and sealing the bottom all in with 5200 and making the bottom extra structural, I feel that we have sealed it watertight up to the chine. I feel that we're still below the waterline without a perfect seal. The seal between the chine and the first plank, very important. If that lets water in at all, or in the stem area up here, we've pretty much failed on our 5200 seal on the bottom, because we're still below the water line with a leak. So we can use seam sealers and get the seam so that it will hold out most of the water. Maybe not 100%, maybe even 100%. But I feel if we took the bottom plank off and we sealed that with 5200, we could put the bottom plank back on and we would be sealed below the water line if we get the complete bottom plank. Of course, the bottom plank in this case touching the chine is two planks. It's one and one. So we would have to take off these planks here, and the splash rail is over a board that should come off and be sealed in 5200. But then again, I feel that the splash rail should probably be sealed in 5200 also. It's not loose, and it could be left on there and painted in. That would help seal along the chine and the bottom planks. In the back on the transom, along with sealing the bottom, the bottom transom board, this is below the water line too, and there's spots on it that without 5200 behind it could possibly keep water in, and that would just leave moisture in between the boards, which means rot in the future.
And then we also have that issue of...
Yeah, so I was going to show you that. I'll get my straight edge. The bottom transom plank is kind of out of shape. As you can see on the ends, it has a nice straight edge to it on both sides. Okay? And that is a plane that I feel the whole plank should have. But as you near the middle of the plank, on this frame, it still has a nice plane. It's still all full. You come over to this frame, and it sinks in 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch right into the bottom of the plank. And in the center, it's a good 1/4 inch. And the reason for that is somebody had trim tabs on it. They bolted trim tabs on it before, and they squeezed it right here. And the inside frame is more square than the outside transom board. And normally it would be fastened on the bottom where it wouldn't pull the center of the board in square. This one here has been pulled tight, squeezed extra hard, and it actually has a indentation in it. That indentation, if we leave the board, will be there probably for the rest of the boat's life, because I can't put fillers in it, because the fillers, if water gets behind the fillers, all it's going to do is pop off the section of filler. So I'd really be afraid to put fillers in that spot, or epoxies. I would rather change the plank if possible.
Don't we face a similar issue up here forward on the port side with that plank?
We have an issue with the third plank. Number 3 plank has approximately 2 feet of dry rot and it's split and dry rotted, and it's probably got a 1/4 inch indentation in it. You know, a good 1/4 of an inch, where it's weathered. It's either been scuffed by something or it's had water behind the finish.
And it's split through and through, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bad plank. That plank, let me get a tape measure. That plank from the front to the butt joint in it is approximately 10 feet. If you didn't want a short section put in, it would be a 10-foot plank, and because of the curve of the boat, you know, it's a little wider than, it's going to be wider than 6 inches. It's probably an 8-inch plank cut down, you know, with a curve in it. You could get away with a shorter section in the boat because it's painted, but that would be up to the owner whether they would want to put a short section in that spot. The bad spot, the actual bad spot could be replaced with a 5-foot board.
But then we're introducing two new butt joints.
Right, then you got 3 sections of board in 10 feet.
And up here forward, John, is where the curvature is the most extreme, and you're getting a lot of outward pressure on the planks themselves. So I'd be uncomfortable with butt joints that far forward.
To go from the front back, you might as well just go with a plank. I mean, by the time you replace 7 feet of it, you got a 3-foot piece. If you do 5 feet, you got 3 sections with 2 butt joints, 3 butt joints in the complete plank. So
we'll be having this conversation with the boat's owner, and as Snake Mountain Boat Works always makes these kinds of decisions in conversation with the owner, so that we're not simply going out into left field when the owner is not comfortable with us being there. So thank you very much. Happy New Year to all of our fellow woody addicts. May 2014 be a great year for you and your boats, and we'll be back to you soon.